Slide 67, Lesson 4, Independent Personal Pronouns. I, thou, you, he, she, we, they. In this slide we'll have a look at some examples of independent personal pronouns. So the first one is Ani Yahweh. Ani, Aleph Nun Yod, Ani Yahweh. Now it doesn't actually quite pronounce the way it's written. Some people say Yehovah or Yehovah. There's all different sorts of versions of the pronunciation. You know, we worship the true God, and yet no one can decide on how to pronounce His name or whether we should pronounce His name. There's nothing in the Bible that says we shouldn't pronounce His name, but we should call upon the name of the Lord, or the name Yah, Yod He Vav He. You know, we are children of our Father, and we need to speak to the Father, and this is the name which He has told Israel to call upon Him as Yod He Vav He. There are many gods, many Elohim so-called. I'm not saying that they're truly God, but there are many so-called gods, but there's only one Yod He Vav He. And Yod He Vav He reveals Himself through His Son also. Like the high priest, the Son has Yod He Vav He on his forehead. So Ani Yod He Vav He, Ani Yahweh. I am the Lord. I am Yahweh. Or in the King James it will say, I am the Lord. Now there's no actual word for am in Hebrew in this context. There are no words for is or am or are in Hebrew. They are simply implied by context. So in English it says I am Yahweh, but in Hebrew it just says I Yahweh, Ani Yahweh. That's just something to get used to. So let's have a look at the next example. By the way, we should learn these words. These are very common words. So learn the words in red especially. Learn these independent personal pronouns, the words for I, thou, you, he, she, we, and they, etc. Learn those, but learn these words also, because they're very common Hebrew words. So, Hu Navi Tzaddik. Hu Navi Tzaddik. He is a righteous prophet. Again, there's no word for is, that's just implied, and that word is implied because this doesn't have a hey in front of it. If it had a hey in front of the nun, it would be Hanavi, which is the prophet. But a prophet is implied by just having Navi written without the hey. So Hu Navi Tzaddik. He is a righteous prophet. Now in Hebrew, the word prophet comes first. So it's Hu Navi, which means prophet, Tzaddik, righteous. So you say the noun first and then the adjective. So Navi Tzaddik, prophet, righteous. If you wanted to say this literally, you'd be he is a prophet, righteous. But we don't say it that way in English, so we translate it he is a righteous prophet. So again, in different languages, there's different ways of saying the same thing, and sometimes the order of the words is different. And that's so with nouns and adjectives. The adjective follows the noun. In English, the adjective precedes the noun. This word righteous is an adjective. Again, don't get caught up in the terminology, but learn these words. And that is a 3ms word, who, third person masculine singular. Okay, next one. Atar Malak Tov. Atar means you, to one person, a man. So that's you are a good king. Again, there's no word for are, A-R-E, are, and there's no word for a, or that is implied, because this says Malik, which means king, and there's no hey in front of it. Hey would say ha Malik, the king, but if it doesn't have a hey in front of it, it's a king. Malik, a king. Ata Malik, you are a king tov, good. You are a king good, and in English we say you are a good king. So the order of these two words is reversed, because this is the noun, it's the name of something, and then the adjective that describes him is follows the noun in Hebrew. So we say Ata Malik Tov, you are a king good, and that is a 2ms word, second person masculine singular. We're speaking the second person to a man masculine, and it's just one man singular, you. Again, you just need to go over these slides a few times until you get it. Alright, the next example. Achim anachnu. Achim anachnu. Achim, ach means brother. Ach means brother, and achim with a yod and a mem after the ach, aleph chet, yod mem. The yod mem means it's plural, so brother turns to brothers. So that if we say brother, it's ach, and if we want to say brothers, we put the yod mem there, the hirik yod mem. So ach, brother, becomes achim, brothers. So we have to say the word we. So we say anachnu. That's the Hebrew word for we. And so in English, we are brothers. Again, there's no word for are. That is just implied. Achim anachnu. Brothers are we. Literally, we say the word brothers first, and then we say we. Okay, and that is a first person common plural. So we, it's a group of people, it's a plural, and it's common. It means we could be a group of men or women. The word for we in Hebrew, just like the word in English, can be a group of men or a group of women or a mixture. So it's first person common plural, anachnu, we. Okay, another one. He, isha, hachama. Now the word he means she. Okay, hey, cherik yod aleph means she, but it's pronounced he, so it's confusing, but it means she in Hebrew. He, isha, isha, ish means man, and isha means woman. So she is a woman, hachama. Hacham means wisdom, and hachama is the feminine version of the same word. So when if we were speaking of men, we would say hacham, wise, but if we want to say the same word wise regarding a woman, we put a hey at the end, and it becomes not hacham, but hachama. So he, isha, hachama, she, a woman wise. She is a woman wise. But in English, we don't say it that way. We say, she is a wise woman. We swap those words around. So in Hebrew, it literally reads, she is a woman wise. Again, the word is implied. But in English, we say it the other way around. She is a wise woman. And that is the word for she in Hebrew is hey yod aleph, he, and pronounced he, and it's a 2fs, second person feminine and singular. Alright, last example. Atim, aleph, tav, mem, atim, and those 3 dots at the bottom is a seagull, meaning an S sound. That stroke there means an sound. It's a patach. So it's tim. Remember, the aleph doesn't have its own sound. It takes on whatever sound is denoted by the dots and dashes. Tim, now that means you to a group of men, or a group of men and women. Tim. If I want to say a group of women, I go tin, you. But it's you to not just one person, but a group of people. And if I say you to a group of men, it's tim. If I say you to a group of women, it's tin. So this is tim, you to a group of men, or a group of men and women. Tim ba'ir hagadalah. You, there's no word for but it's in a city, or no, in the city, ba'ir hagadalah, the great, the big. So in English, you are in the great city, and in Hebrew, you are in the city, the great. Now this would have a different, this would may have just a vocal shiva here if it was a city, but we know it's the city because it's got a patach here. Again, don't get hung up on all of that. We know it's the city because the adjective following it has a hey there. The hey is not in here because it's absorbed. Again, you have to go back to the previous lessons to look at that. Atim ba'ir hagidlah. You are in the city hagidlah. Great. Atim ba in. Atim, you are in. That letter bait means in. And this word here is ear, which means city. You are in the city Hagidlah, the great. Now, the word Gidlah, that is a feminine version of the word for great. We have the word for Kohen Gadol. Hagadol means great or big, but it's the masculine version. This is the feminine version, and it's got a hey, and it's the feminine version of the word for great, because this word ear, city, is actually a feminine word. So another thing to get used to is words in Hebrew are either masculine or feminine, and they have different endings depending on whether they're masculine or feminine, and they have that affects the adjective that follows the noun. Again, don't get too hung up on all the terminology. Just learn these words. Ani, which means I, or hu means he, ata means you, anachnu means we, and he, hey, yod, aleph means she, and atim means you. Learn these words, and then after you learn these words. Okay, these are very common words, and it's repetition. It's doing this over and over again. Watching it, practicing writing it, and that's where the exercises in the books are helpful if you've got them. Okay,